Hi guys, so here we're gonna look at a few questions that will prepare you towards your quiz. So let's look at this. If I have a circle with an height, now this is not, my drawing is not perfect. So let's say I have a cylinder looking at that. We have a height right there. Let's say we want to find the volume of this cylinder. If the volume of the cylinder is 170.62, and I want to find what the height is. Let's say the height was not given. All right. Let's say my radius is, let's say my radius is, that's too big. Let's say my radius. Let's say my radius is 3 centimeters squared. Let's say 3 centimeter cube. Yeah, let's say my radius is 3 centimeter. And my volume is 170.64 cubic centimeter. And I want to find the height. All I need to do, the first thing I need to remember is what is the formula of the volume of a cylinder? So it is pi r squared times the height. All I need to do is substitute all the values that I have from each term in my formula. And then I make h the subject or solve for h, which is the height. And so let's go and substitute the values into the formula. My v is actually all of this, which is 17064 is equal to pi. What's my radius? 3 all square. Then h is unknown. So I'm going to simplify this. Now, so 3 raised to the power of 2 is 9 times pi. And that gives me, simplifying the left side, the right-hand side first. So I have 28.26 times h. I need to divide both sides by 28.26. Divide on one side. I do the same thing on the other side. And so if I have 170.64 divided by 28.26, that gives me, I'm going to run my answer to the nearest tenth or to 2 decimal place. So I have 6.038 and something. But my last digit that I'm rounding off is I'm dropping off is more than 5. So I'm going to round up. So my final answer would be, let me write my final answer in purple. My h would be equal to 6.04 centimeter. And there you go. Let's move on to another question. Let's say I have let's say I have so let's say we want to find like the volume of let's say we have a sphere, right? So a sphere. Now remember the volume of the volume of a sphere is 4 divided by 3 times pi times r raised to the 3rd power. So let's say we have let's say we have a sphere that its volume is, let's say, 504 centimeter cube. And let's say I want to find let's say I want to find the radius of the sphere. So I want to find what is the radius of the sphere. The radius. What is the radius? Now, it's the same way we just solved for the height with the cylinder. No big deal. The concept is very easy. What is let's put my radius in R. What is my radius? Now, all I need to do is to substitute my values into my formula. And there we go. We can solve it. So let's go. Four, okay. So to find it out, all I need to do is to write my formula. So my formula for the sphere is the volume is equal to 4 divided by 3 times pi times r cubed. Now, we don't know what is this r. So but what we know is that our volume was 504, and we write back everything right here. Oops, and we say to the third power. Now, let's simple work on this part first. So I'm gonna say 4 divided by 3 times pi. Let me do it again. 4 divided by 3 times pi. And that gives me to have 4. Right? I'm just taking back everything down. So yeah, okay. 4. I could run this off to mine to 2 decimal places. Right. So I say 1. Let's say 1.9 times r squared. Now what we're going to do is divide both sides by 4.19. So when we do that, we have now, so we say 504 divided by 4.19. All right. And that gives us, let me get some space right here. That gives us, let me just erase this right here. So that gives us 120, running off the 2 decimal places, 120, 20, let's go, 9, is equal to r raised to the third. Now, the question is, we want to find r, but what is the opposite of a cube? The opposite of a cube is a cube root. Whatever we do on one side, the same thing on the other side. So what we're going to do now is to put this in our calculator, and then this is going to give you an approximate. So so my answer as two decimal places would be 4.94 centimeter. There you go. Let's look at another question. Let's try to find the area for sector. Now, what's the formula to find the area of a sector? Now, remember that the sector is a part of a circle. And so if the sector is a part of a circle, then we must consider that we're going to take a ratio of the degrees times by the area of the circle. So if I have, let's say I have a sector like this, a 2 radii and that curvy looking arc. Let's say my central angle right here is 50 degrees. Let's say my radius is 2 centimeters. And I say, what is the area of this sector? No, all I need to do is to take my values, plug them in their respective areas into the formula, and that's it. So let's go. So my formula to find the sector of the area is what? Is theta divided by 360 times the area of the square. So let's go back here. I had 50 degrees and I have 2 centimeters. So my degree would be what? 50 degrees divided by 360 times pi times raised to the power of 2 raised to the power of 2. And someone's going to work this out. 50 divided by 360 times pi, oops, let's go again. 50 divided by 360 times pi times 4 gives us 1.74 centimeters. So that's the area of this thing. Let me retry this again. Let me retry. 50 divided by 360 times pi times 4. Right. So square. Always remember, you find the area, the answer must be in square unit. Always remember that. Never forget. All right, so let's look at let's say we have the same problem. But this time we want to find the radius of the sector. So we have the same sector. Well, let me draw this a little bit better. So I have 50 degrees right here. But we don't know what is our radius. Now, we can prove that our radius is actually 2 or approximately 2. So if I want to find let's say we just had 1.74 centimeter square for the area of the sector. Let's say we want to find R. Very easy. Now, all we need to do is to write down our formula. What's the formula to find the area of a sector? So the area is equal to theta divided by 360 times pi r squared. All I need to do is to take my values, plug them where they're supposed to go. But this is going to be unknown because we don't know what that is. And so let's go ahead and do it. So we have 1.74 is equal to 50 divided by 360 times pi r squared. Remember, the r is actually, it is unknown. So what I'm going to do is to work out what I have on this side, simplify what can be simplified. So I have 50 divided by 360 times pi gives me, let me just write this down. So all of this gives me, I'm going to give my answer to 2 decimal places. 4 times r squared. Now what I'm going to do is to divide both sides by 0.44 to see what, and then let me see what goes after that. So we have 1.74 divided by 0.44, which gives us, this gives us 3.95 to the second power. Now we're going to see what we get for this. Now, so if you look at this, we want to find r, you just find the square root of both sides. And so r would give us, so this value would give us 1.99, which is very close to 2. Which we had so it was actually, so if I were to just run this out to the oldest number, I would get 2. So I'll actually get the same answer as the radius that we had previously. All right, so let's try to look at another part of the sector. If we have a sector, right? If I have a sector, and let's say I want to find the length of this arc right here. Let me give it a different color. I want to find the length of the arc right here. If I have 60 degrees and I have 4 centimeter, and I want to find the length of the arc. How would I find it? Now, the first thing I need to ask myself, what is the formula to find the length of the arc? Now, the length of the arc is equal to, because since this is a part of the circumference, we treat it as we treat this part in the formula as a part of the part of the circumference. So we say theta divided by 360 times the circumference formula, 2 pi r. And all we need to do is to plug our values in, and then we find the length of r. So let's go. We say 60 divided by 360 times pi r times pi times r. R is 4 centimeter. So all I'm going to do is to say what? 360 divided by 360 times 2 times pi times 4. That gives us 4.4. 0.19 centimeter. Always running off to the nearest tenth. Right? So let's move on to another question. Let's say I have I'm trying my best to draw a square. Let's say I have like a pyramid. Now my pyramids are not the best. My pyramids are not the best. But let's say I have a pyramid. Well, this doesn't look like a pyramid. Let's say we have a pyramid, right? But let's say we have a square pyramid. Now let's say we want to find the volume of a square pyramid. Well, the first question we need to ask ourselves, what is the formula to find the volume of a square pyramid? Now remember, we have 1/3 in our formula. Now times the base times the height. But the thing is, what would this represent? The beers represent the area of a square. And the area of a square is S times S, which is S squared. And so our formula would be 1/3 times the area of the base times the height. And so let's say our square is actually, let's say it's like 4 centimeter. Let's say our height is like 10 centimeter. Now, what would be the volume of this square pyramid? And all we need to do is substitute the values, plug the values into the formula. So we say we do 1/3 times 4 all square times 10 times 10 times 10. Now remember, when we're dealing with volume, remember that we must always put our answer in cubic units. So 1 divided by 3 is 0.3333. That's 4 raised to the second power is 16. And times 10, that gives us 53.3333. You could just run this out to the nearest tenth. Always remember that. Right? So let's see. Let's say I want to look at let's try to look at the idea of let's try to solve a cone. Let's say we have a circle and we have a cone like this. And let's say our radius is 5 centimeter. And my height is, let's use 10 again. And I want to find the volume of this cone. Now the question is, what is the formula to find the volume of the cone? So it is 1/3 times the area of the base, which is a square, times the height. And all I need to do is to plug my values into the formula. So if I divide this, I will get 0.33 times pi times 5 square times, what's my height? 10. So if I plug all of this in my calculator, let's see what we get. 0.33 times 3.14 times 25, which is 5 squared. Let me do it again. 0.33 times pi times 25, which is 5 squared, times 10. That gives us, answer in red, it gives us 259.05 centimeter cube. Very, very simple. Now, the last question we're looking at is the idea of, well, the second to last question. That probably this will be the last question. The last question we're looking at is what is the concentric circle concept. Concentric circles. And always remember that concentric circles, you have a small circle and you have a bigger circle, and they share a common point right in the center. Now the idea is, let's say I want to find, let's say if I shade right here, right? Let's say I shade right here. Let me do my shade right here. If I want to find the area of this shaded area region, how would I find it? Now remember, the concept is to find the area of the smaller circle, find the area of the bigger circle, and then you subtract them, and that will be your answer. But we want to give our answer in terms of pi, or give our answer to the exact volume. All right, so we don't want to calculate pi in our answer. So pi should be visible in your answer. So let's just give this this concentric circle a few the dimensions. Let's say my smaller circle is, this is a different color. Let me just erase this thing. So if I have a big circle, then I have a smaller circle, and I have my center right here. Let's say this is 2 centimeters. Let's say if I were to extend my radius from the center right here, let me use a different color, like let's say purple. Let's say it was extended like 3 more centimeters. Now the thing is, we need to find the area of the shaded region. That's the bigger circle. Now what's the formula? The formula is the area of the big circle, minus the area of the small circle. And if you remember that both will have the same formula, pi r squared. So let's get straight into this. Now we need to find the radius of both circles. So my formula would actually be pi r squared minus pi r squared, right? So let me just put a subscription right at the bottom right here. Like I said, this is the big circle, this is the smaller circle. S for small, B for big. So I'm going to put the big circle's information right here and the small circle's information right there. So let me just go over here. So what is my radius for my bigger circle? Now, if you look at this right here, all the radii would be the same in the smaller circle. So if here to here is 2, and I extended 3 more centimeters, that would be 5 centimeters. And so if I were to write the information for the bigger circle, I would have pi. Oh, not remember we're writing pi in our answer. Pi times the bigger radius, which is 5 centimeters squared, minus the smaller centimeter with the smaller circle here now. So we use different colors as we go along. So we have, oh, I don't have that color. Let's try this one. Let's say we have, my friends, let's say we have pi, and what is the radius is 2 centimeters. What I'm going to do is to work this out, which is what, 25. So we have 25 times pi give you 25 pi minus, what is this, 4? So we have 4 pi. So if I were to subtract 25 pi's from 4 pi's, well, the final answer would be 21 pi. 21 pi. Don't leave out your centimeter squared, because you're finding the area of the circle. So there you go. We looked through a few questions, and I hope this will be enough for you, and all the best in your quiz.